Assalamualaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. My name is Fitri Amalia Rafi from Design Studio 2 Class B, and I am going to present about my works in the studio. The first work that I was working in the studio, namely Lingkalang. On this assignment, we were asked to take the inspiration from construction of traditional or vernacular architecture. Based on that, I took an inspiration from Lamin House, which has been a Kalimantan traditional house since 1967. The uniqueness that was taken into inspiration is the foundation of the Lamin House, called Sukak Epek. Sukak Epek is the basic pile of Lamin House that functioned to support the floor and the weight above. It also contains of sunduk and kalang. The arrangement of kalang is interesting, where the blocks are staked to each other to bear the main column. And with that inspiration, with still maintaining the principle of staked blocks by the kalang, the design is modified into more unique shape with curve and spiral framework, with using rhythm and balance as the basic of architectural composition. First, there is big pole as the main column, then the spiral framework was formed and attached to the main column using pinch joint. After the spiral framework was formed, then the smaller bamboos were arranged inside the spiral. With still using the principle of kalang, then other vertical bamboos were staked above the previous bamboo arrangement. It's following the shape of the previous bamboo arrangement. Besides, the staked bamboos were also aimed to create unique and aesthetic shadow by arranging it in distance of 5 cm to each other. For the material that is used in this design, that will be used bamboo. Alongside of its strength, bamboo is also flexible that can easily be bent and shaped. This characteristic suits well with the design, which needs to be folded into spiral. The lingkalang is aimed to respond toward light by providing shading place for people. Since the site is located in City Park, where many people come to do recreation or exercise, do sports, play with kids, gather with friends, and many more, by creating the lingkalang composition, the design is hoped to be a shelter place for people. The design is especially responding toward 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. sunlight. The design is focused to respond toward sunlight at that time because on the side there is still lacking of shelter place, and at that time there are some people who come to resting or eating their lunch. To provide comfort place for the people, that is why for the physiological empathy, the design is responding toward light. And for the physical empathy, the design is made from bamboo, which is durable and strong. And to make sure that each component is connected properly, the pinch joint is used. To maintain the main column position to be steady, the principle of Sukak Epek is used, where it is locked by staking the width to each other. For the smaller components, they are also connected by the bamboo pin. The bamboos were perforated on the both sides as the axis for the bamboo pin to lock the bamboos and make sure that will not allow any movement. And the next work that has been done in Design Studio 2, namely Triangle. On the previous work, we were asked to take inspiration from construction of traditional architecture, right? But on this assignment, the inspiration came from ornamental or traditional object, which is more difficult. For this project, the inspiration was taken from ulap doyo. Ulap doyo is a beautiful weaving made from doyo leaves that comes from East Kalimantan. The point that was taken into consideration of ulap doyo is the process of weaving itself. threads are intertwined to create such patterns on the cloth. The threads are connected in crossed way, which became the main inspiration of the composition, which namely triangle. With applying repetition and rhythm as the main basic architecture principle, the weaving process of ulap doyo has been taken to create an architectural object. The intertwining threads of ulap doyo was simplified into crossing shape to make it easier to be designed. After being simplified, the crossed shape of the timber is modified to stack to each other in various elevation and length. The design is intentionally playing with the elevation and the length of the timber in order to make the design more dynamical. The cross timber has been transformed into triangular composition with tilting it by 30 degrees. The composition then arranged from the bigger into the smaller ones in order to create rhythmic composition. With unique and playful shape, the design can be used and play the kids who come to the site, since there are so many families that come with their kids to the site. The material of triangle is using ulin wood. Ulin wood is durable, strong, and can last for years. The choice of using this wood is also because the design will accommodate many occupants, right? And that ulin wood is strong enough to bear the load. For the physiological empathy, triangle is aimed to respond toward light in order to provide hiding place. On the side, there are people who come to exercise or to do sports, right? And after exercising, people tend to looking for some place to sit or rest for a while. Therefore, the design is planned to give them shelter. The certain sunlight that this design is proposed to respond is the sunlight at 3 until 5 p.m., where people already start to exercise or do sports. Even though there are also people who do sports in the morning, the design is not focused to respond toward light on that time, since there is already a big tree that will give shade for people in the morning. And that is why the design is more focused to responding toward light on the certain times, which is 3 until 5 p.m. in the afternoon. In order to maintain the shape of the components, the timbers are connected to each other by using steel plate and bolt. The timber will be splitted and cut into parts by using wood joinery method, then it will be locked by connection devices. Besides, there is also decking to maintain the stability of the components to keep the weight of the design can balance to the weight of the occupants. And I think that's all from my explanation of my presentation on works in Design Studio 2. I want to say sorry for any shortcoming in my presentation, and thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.